people who you've all come here to see now. He's a man who has done so many voices for so many amazing characters. I mean, I had to write it on my phone because it was such a huge list. I'm sure you all love his voice for Rin Okamura, in Kirito, Sword Art Online. He was in the Ordinal Scale movie as well. There's Kida from Durarara. There's Eren Yeager. I mean, the list goes on and on. Zapelli, Shiro Emiya. I love that. Anyway, Red Pokemon Origins, and he's been in quite a fair few games as well. In Fire Emblem Awakening, he was the voice of Henry, which he also did for Fire Emblem Heroes, which some of you might be playing currently on your phones. I know I am. He was also Tiz in Bravely Default and Bravely Second. And he's been in Final Fantasy as well, Final Fantasy 13, Type 0 and 15. Now, I also have some extra information about him as well, because I'm a martial arts fan myself, and I found out that he's a 4th Dan in Tang Sudo, and he's been 3 times a kickboxing champion. So this is a man who's going to have a lot to talk about, ask many questions about him. Let's get this underway. So without any further ado, can we please put our hands together for Bryce Papenbrook?
You did do your research. That was great. I always have to check Wikipedia to double check who I am. Hope everyone's having a good time today. Hello, Cat Noir. I love the cosplay. It looks so good. So this will be a fun panel. We'll just kind of hang out and talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. I feel like a good way to start is to tell everyone how I got into voice acting. Sorry if you've already heard this story. So I was 8 years old, and my dad was a voice actor also. He was working on a show called Power Rangers. Have you guys heard of that show? So my dad played a bunch of the monster voices, but he was also one of the main bad guys in, I think it was the 2nd season. He was Rito Revolto, the like skeleton dude with the army helmet and all that. So my dad was going into work, and I used to love to go with him because they had all the rubber monster suits that would like line the stairs up to the studio. And he was really fun to watch. And one day at the end of his session, the director was like, you know, I need a kid's voice. And my dad's like, he's a kid, throw him in the booth. And then I became a voice actor. Yay, child labor. So that's how I kind of fell into this industry. I never thought that I would be a voice actor. Actually studied Tong Sudo and a lot of different martial arts. For a while I thought I was going to be a professional Muay Thai fighter. I competed for quite a few years in Muay Thai. Then I kind of found some interest in the law. I read a lot of John Grisham novels in high school, so I decided to go to college. I went to UCLA and studied political science and philosophy, and thought I was going to go to law school, but then I booked a job as a voice actor, and then I booked another one, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to make funny voices in a booth instead of going to law school. And I haven't looked back. So that's sort of how I've found myself here, and I've been really fortunate to book a lot of awesome roles. It's always sort of surreal to hear my resume of roles sort of read off. And as I look at all the different things that come through and all the different titles I've worked on, I'm like, wow, I talk a lot, which is amazing for a voice actor. It's exactly what you want. So what do you guys want to talk about? Does anyone have any questions for me? We can just start over here. Ad. Hello. Here comes a microphone flying in.
Hi, Bryce.
Hi.
Question. Who's been your favorite character to voice, and what's been your favorite line to say in that voice?
So I get this question a lot, and it's really difficult because I play a lot of crazy characters, and they exist somewhere in my mind. So I don't want to make any of them angry at me because they're all yelling at each other right now. So it's really difficult to pick one, actually. It's super competitive in this industry because you're really competing against everyone who wants particular roles, and they can only give it to one person. So I always cop out of this question. I can't pick. You know, I don't have one particular favorite. Do you have a favorite character and a favorite line? So, okay, I'll talk about Henry from Fire Emblem Awakening a little bit. So has anyone played Fire Emblem? Awesome. So when I got cast as Henry, they used a code name for the game, so I had no idea what game I was working on or what character I was playing. All they handed me before I went into the booth was this picture of Henry. He's holding a crow and just like smiling. And that's all I knew. So I got into the booth, and the director that day was Patrick Seitz. Do you guys know who Patrick is? So he's an awesome voice actor and director. So Patrick was like, all right, let's come up with a voice for Henry. And the first line was, "Yay, blood." So he's like, all right, just throw something out there. Let's see what happens. And I go, "Yay, blood." And he's like, he's more excited about this. "Yay, blood." He's about 1,000 times more excited than that. "Yay, blood." And that's Henry. He's like evil Elmo. I think in Awakening you can choose different characters to kind of play as, and if you get to the very end, I think they ask you to marry them. So I think Henry says something like, "I'll love you till I lose all the blood in my body." Ooh, when do you think that'll be? Yeah, he's crazy. All right, we'll jump around. Who's another question? I don't know if the mic's still floating around, but I'm just gonna like start over here and just kind of like work my way down. So yeah, right there. Yeah, sure. Unless you want to pick, I'll let you pick the next one. We'll trade off.
Hey Bryce, what?
And it's gone.
What was it like to do a non-anime show like Miraculous Ladybug?
Yeah, actually, Miraculous was really fun to work on, and I hope I get to work on it again soon. I heard rumblings of a season 2, so fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Miraculous was a French dub, actually. So originally the show is done in French, and they have a different sort of style when you're dubbing that show. They use this thing called a rhythmoband, and it's almost like dubbing karaoke. It's like this, all the characters' lines are on the screen, and they just kind of like go across, and when it goes past the line, you're supposed to talk. It's like really interesting doing that. But I think the staff and the writers and the director, Ezra, did such a fantastic job adapting that show. It's really difficult to tell that it was even dubbed. It looks like it was made for English. So I think that just shows how well the team did, the engineers as well. It takes a full team to do what we do. It's not just me jumping in a booth and talking. There's a ton of work that happens before I get there, and a ton of work that happens after my job is done. I'm just a small piece of the puzzle. But yeah, Miraculous is an awesome show. I love being able to go into work and say cheesy cat puns and be a superhero. It really reminds me of like Sailor Moon in a way. Yes. Doesn't it? Yes. Yeah, because like every episode it's like someone from the town turns into the bad guy and they, pulls the evil out of them, and there has to be a transformation. You have to use your special moves. So I really love the show, and fingers crossed we get a season 2. Your turn.
What was your experience with voicing Bravely Default as Tiz, and also your thoughts on the story plot around both games?
I was a big fan of Final Fantasy growing up. So I played like the original like Final Fantasy 1, where it's sort of side-scrolling like Bravely Default was, but obviously there's no voice acting in that. So it was sort of my dream to work for Square Enix and be part of a game like that. So being Tiz I almost thought of Bravely Default as sort of the new Final Fantasy. So it was really awesome to be a part of that. I think that game, at least at one point, was the best-selling mobile game ever. So to be, a leading role in a franchise like that is just awesome. As far as the story goes, you can't beat those Square Enix RPGs. Like, they're just, they suck all your time away because they're so much fun. Like, I've been scared to pick up Bravely Default or Bravely Second because I would just disappear off the map if I started playing. Like, I would just never be able to put them down. So I've avoided playing them through. But, everyone who's come up and brought one of them to me said they put like 60 to 100 hours of gameplay in it, so it's gotta be really good.
And you next?
Hello.
Hi.
Who do you think would win in a battle of wits between Naegi and Komaeda from Danganronpa?
Ooh, a battle of wits. I don't know, it'd just be me trying to trick myself. Funny story about me talking to myself. Who's seen the anime for Danganronpa, the latest one?
Yes.
Have you guys watched all the way to the end?
Yes.
So at the very end, and who's never heard of Danganronpa? Who has no idea what I'm talking about? A few people. Okay, so I'll explain what Danganronpa is, and in the fastest way I can. It's a game, and the game was adapted into an anime. In this first game, there's all these students that have super sort of abilities. And they get trapped in this high school by this evil mechanical bear. And the bear says, kill one of the other students and get away with it, and I'll let you out alive. Or if not, you're all gonna die. Yay, good times, Danganronpa. So, without going too far into the story, I play two people. And at the very end of the anime, I talk to myself. So, I threw a blooper in there, and it made it all the way through. Funimation is the company that dubbed it. They put out this apology, and they said, we are so sorry, there's a blooper that made it through, and we're fixing it immediately. So I thought, oh, they caught me. It accidentally pushed through and they caught me, but they're talking about someone else, and mine was still in there and they didn't even notice it. So it's really good. If you don't know my characters, it won't make as much sense, but as Nagito, who's kind of this creepy, insane guy, I say, oh, his hands are so soft. And as Naegi, I go, why was he sticky? And they left it in. I hope it makes the DVD. Fingers crossed. So as far as who would win, I don't know. I mean, they both have like super luck skills, so I feel like one would accidentally stumble onto an argument that would win. Actually, I'm just gonna throw it out there. I think Naegi might outwit him. Not outfight him. He's not a very good fighter, but he'd outwit him.
If you raise your hands, I will run towards you with a microphone. Nope, there's someone down there.
Work out. Go.
Well, the combat's for it.
Hiya.
Hello.
I really love Seven Deadly Sins, and Meliodas is one of my favourites. I just want to be really cheeky and just say, do you know if we're going to get another season?
Here's the thing about like asking voice actors questions like that. They don't tell us anything. And here's why. We talk for a living. So they're fairly certain we're going to say the wrong thing. So they just don't tell us. So I'm right at the same level as you. I'm like, there has to be more Seven Deadly Sins because we've only met 6 of them. They can't call the show Seven Deadly Sins and only introduce 6. When they came out with and I don't know if you guys have got this here, but there's a season 2 that's out?
Yeah, on Netflix.
On Netflix, yeah. Right when that came out, I went to a convention in Seattle, and literally 300 people came up to me and said, why was there only 4 episodes? I'm like, I want more episodes too, it's not my fault. So yeah, I hope we get a season 2. For you guys that have seen Seven Deadly Sins, do you know I play 2 characters in that show?
Yes.
Okay, good. I play Meliodas, and I also play the most annoying character in the show, Lovehelm. He's like this tall, with a red sheet over his head, and just a big mouth and little floppy, flimsy arms. Yeah, that's me too. So I got cast as Meliodas, and I was working on the show, and I happened to stumble across the show in Japanese, and I got addicted to it and started watching it before I worked on it, and I came across the whole arc where they're fighting for Deanne's hammer, and out comes Lovehelm, this little annoying red thing. So I start imitating his voice in Japanese, and I felt like I could get pretty close to it. So the next day I went in and recorded, and after my session I went to the casting director and I said, "Can I send you an audition for another character in the show?" And she's like, "You're Meliodas. Why do you want to audition?" I'm like, no, just trust me. I'm just going to record something and just kind of send it in. If it works, great, and if not, no problem. She's like, "I guess, okay." So I go home and I practice more, and I record a little bit of Lovehelm, and I send it to her, and she writes back, "I think we can make this work." So I finished recording all of Meliodas, wait a couple more weeks, and then get an email, "Hey, are you available to come in for some Seven Deadly Sins?" And I'm like, yes, this might be it. And it was, and I got to talk to myself, and it's amazing. So after I found out I got cast, I kept practicing the voice, and at the time my wife was very pregnant. So I was practicing, and this one day she just pops into my office and goes, "If you do that voice one more time, I'm having this baby now." So I had to stop practicing. Trust me, it's really annoying. If you don't know the voice, I'm gonna have to do it for everyone. And I'll put the microphone down, cover your ears. I'm sorry about this. Ready? Do it.
I think I might side with your wife on this one.
You're having this baby now.
Under the topics of SAO Season 2, what was it like doing the bloopers with everyone?
So, first off, if you've seen the bloopers, I'm sorry. I said some disgusting things that never should have made it out there. You probably, if you haven't seen them, you shouldn't watch them. Go watch them. You really, I mean, they're just horrible things. Go see them now, they're on YouTube. I mean, you can tell that like the whole cast was really comfortable with each other. The director and the writer for that show was also the director and writer for Blue Exorcist. And so we recorded all of Blue Exorcist Season 1. Then we were, right away, I got cast as Kirito, so I was right back with them and recorded Season 1 of SAO. And then we recorded the Blue Exorcist movie, and then came back for Season 2 of SAO. And in Season 2, if you guys haven't seen it, Kirito is very feminine, which has always been a dream of mine, to play a girl. I used to prank call girls in middle school as their female friends. And a quick story about playing a girl. Have you guys seen Madoka Magica? Yeah. Okay, so the director and writer for Blue Exorcist and SAO, Alex Von David, also wrote and directed Madoka Magica. So I was working on another series in the same studio, and I walked by him. I'm like, "Hey, what are you working on?" And he's like, "Oh, it's this magical girl show, but it's super dark." And I said, "I want to be a magical girl." And like his eyes kind of opened up. He's like, "Huh?" And he looks over at the producer for the show, and she goes, So I was not allowed to be a magical girl until Sword Art Online 2! With pink sparkles and shimmers, and it was amazing. So yeah, I was super comfortable with the crew, and I always wait for like the moments that aren't appropriate, like a very like quiet moment or like a very touching moment to give like the most disgusting blooper possible. Or we do this thing called bad anime reactions, and I don't know if you guys have seen this before, but it started back in Blue Exorcist, and someone, you know, when you're recording in these shows, you have to make a sound for almost anything. So a character will like move their eyes and you have to do like a reaction or like a breath, like something to fill that in. So there's moments in Blue Exorcist where like Rin is like dialing the phone and I did something like this. So those bad anime reactions carried all the way through, and soon the entire cast was doing it. So I think there's about 1,000 bad anime reactions that didn't even make the cut. But if you go online and you watch the SAO Season 2 bloopers, which are just horrible, go watch them. You'll see that like 80% of the bloopers are me, and I'm very proud of that. Thank you.
We got obviously Attack on Titan, then we got Attack on Titan Junior High.
Yes.
What was your reaction to that? Did you think it was a season 2 to begin with, or?
I wasn't sure what to expect going into it, but once we started, I think the entire cast thought of it as Attack on Titan Muppet Babies. I mean, it's just so funny to see those characters who are so serious in the actual series. Like, you know, episode 1 of Attack on Titan. Who's not seen Attack on Titan? Okay, sorry, I'm going to spoil some stuff. Episode 1, unfortunately, Aaron's mom is eaten. Episode 1 of Attack on Titan Junior High, Aaron's lunch is eaten. And he screams, "My lunch!" in the same way as he screams for his mom. So, I mean, it was really fun working on that show. Like, there's a moment I got to do, like, you know, like Looney Tune type noises. Like, he's hit with this volleyball and I did like, as he's like spinning around in circles. Like, just to do stuff like that as Aaron Yeager was really fun. Yeah, if you haven't seen Attack on Titan Junior High, look it up. It's great. Muppet Babies.
So when it comes to playing a new character for the first time, do you tend to sort of watch the original sort of over and over again to get a feel for them, or do you tend to just sort of look at a couple of pictures and just launch into whatever springs to mind for their voice?
Most of the time, you don't know what you're doing in advance far enough to do any research. It's kind of a rare instance when, and I've been really fortunate because I've had this a few times, when you're cast as a character that you're going to kind of live with for a while, so like a lead. You know, in a show like Blue Exorcist or Attack on Titan or Sword Art, I was really fortunate to be able to go and watch the show before, so you kind of know what's going to happen. But most of the time, this is sort of how it works. You get a call, "Hey, can you come into the studio on Monday at 2? We need you for about 2 hours." And you check your calendar and you're like, "Oh, yeah, I can make that work. What am I working on?" And they've already hung up. So you have no idea what you're going to do that day or who you're going to be. Most of the time, you're like Guy C in episode 35 in the show, and you have to just kind of go in and trust the director. But when you're establishing a character for the first time, you watch it, you hear the Japanese and see the Japanese, but I never try to copy what the Japanese do. I'll take it and use it as sort of inspiration, but kind of build my own character outside of that. The goal isn't really to replicate what the Japanese do. It's to create a show that gives the same emotions as you would get as if you were watching it in Japanese and fully understood that culture. So if a moment's supposed to be funny, it should be funny in English. If a moment's supposed to be scary or emotional, it should be the same way in English. Sometimes in Japanese, jokes are just not funny in English. And some producers want them to be exactly the same, and then it's just like, well, I don't get that joke. And sometimes they don't care, and they're like, let's just make this a fun, funny show. So one example of that was the show Blood Lad. Has anyone seen Blood Lad? Okay, highly recommend it if you haven't. So my character's name is Staz. He's this otaku vampire mob boss. And day one of the recording, the producer came in and said, so that script, don't even worry about it. If you come up with something that you like, just throw it in there and we'll see if it works. So we did that a ton. There's this one moment where Staz elbows this guy and he just goes like goes flying across the screen, and right before he does that I go, finish you. And that made it into the show. So we had a ton of fun with that show. So yeah, I mean, I think this is what I always do. I get a question and then I talk about something totally different and then I try to find my way back to your question. So I think your question was how do you establish a character? It's different every time, but really it's like a team effort. Like you go in, you listen to the Japanese, you look at the character, you kind of throw a voice out there and they'll say, oh, a little younger, a little older, a little different than this, or add this kind of texture, and then you kind of find that character. And once you do, they record that. And every time you come back to the studio, they play that. They call it a vocal ref. So they play your vocal ref, you kind of repeat yourself, and that gets you back into the headspace of the character, because sometimes you're multiple people in one day. And yeah, that's kind of how you get back into that character.
Raise your hands and I will visit.
How was your experience as Caesar Zeppeli from JoJo's?
Amazing. I like Family Guy. When I got the audition for Caesar, all I knew about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is that it's just over the top and insane. So I was watching Family Guy, and it's the episode where Peter pretends to be Italian, and he just walks in and just goes, and that's his Italian. And then I auditioned for Caesar in a very similar way. And they're like, this guy is ridiculous, cast him. So it's not an authentic Italian accent. It's meant to be like Peter Griffin-ish inspired. But any character that attacks with bubbles is amazing. Yeah, it was fun being Caesar. What? Oh, you're from... So, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for butchering the accents. Okay. I got so many comments like, that's not a real Italian accent. I'm like, it wasn't supposed to be.
Hi. How hard was it to create the screams for Kirito and Aaron, and can we get one?
So here's the thing about screaming. It is really difficult. Like, before I was recording some of the biggest screams from Sword Art Online, I went to a convention and I actually met the Japanese seiyuu for Kirito. His name is Mr. Matsuoka, and he was telling stories about these screams, and he said that during some of the recording sessions, he would get nosebleeds because he was screaming so loud. And that was right before I was going in to record those screams. So they are insane and really difficult to do. So I actually go back in on Tuesday to record more Attack on Titan. And I want to be able to still sound like Eren Yeager, so I'm not going to scream today. But trust me, they're super intense. During the Sword Art movie, there's a couple really particularly large screams, especially towards the end of the movie. And we were having this problem where I was yelling so loud that it sounded like this, almost like jet engine was over my scream, like this. And that was the microphone crying because it was blowing up. I only got like one or two of those like at that intensity in me. And what they would do for Sword Art is we would record all my lines, and then the last 15 minutes of every session we would just scream. To really get those screams out that would give you like the shivers, or make your skin crawl almost. And I hope that that's what came across when you heard them.
You have had your hand up for ages, sir. I see someone following instructions.
Thank you. As a black belt in Tang Soo Do, did you have to study the Korean words for all the different moves and techniques in it? Because I'm a practitioner in Taekwondo, also a Korean art, and I'm currently learning the Korean words for the different techniques as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, you learn some of it. I would say for me, like that wasn't like I didn't delve that far into the language. I was really passionate about sparring and fighting, and that's why I kind of found myself studying Muay Thai and competing there. Actually, recently I've been focused on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is like submission wrestling. I train a little bit. I've been so busy, I haven't done this as much, but I train a little bit with another voice actor you guys might know, Yong Bosch. Yeah. So it's really fun. Wake up early in the morning and let Johnny choke me out. It's a good time. So yeah, I haven't dove too far into the Korean, but I learned just slightly, like the names of the forms and some of the commands. But yeah, Tong Soo Do is very similar to Taekwondo.
My only worry with the answer to that question is the fact I can just see the shipping happening already. It's never going to stop now.
Which voice actor do you think it was harder to do? Blue Exorcist or Attack on Titan?
I mean, they have different challenges. Like, I feel like my actual personality is very similar to Rin when he's happy. Like, not Rin when he's like flaming up and like burning people. Like Rin when he's just like normal everyday Rin. Like, it's a lot of just me coming through in that role. But he also does this thing where like he'll be happy and angry and mad and sad, then happy again in like one line, and that's kind of challenging to do. For Aaron, like, the challenge is just getting the raw anger out and channeling that. So like, I've been asked before, like, how do you get that angry in the booth? And there's a lot of different things that I've done in the past. So like, one thing I did in season 1, I have Maltipoos. They're like little white fluff ball poodles. And I got this bag of chips or crisps that you guys call them here. I got this bag of crisps that I was really looking forward to eating, and those dogs ate that bag of crisps. And I tapped into the anger I felt for Aaron Yeager. So yeah, that's one way I tap into those poodles. I just recorded, and who has not seen any of season 2 of Attack on Titan? Okay, so I'm not going to spoil this because this is like, honestly, my favorite episode in the whole series. Not long ago I recorded this. There's this huge battle. And in this battle, Aaron is particularly unhinged. So, he's really angry. So I was doing this thing where I would like offset my jaw, like pop it out of place, and it made him sound like even more insane. So like I would offset my jaw, and then I was doing this like growly, yelly stuff, and I bit my tongue, like really bad. So my mouth was like kind of filling with blood. But then the next line, like Aaron's spitting blood, so it sounded awesome. But there was literally blood in my mouth. So I hope that comes through and you guys can hear that. I wouldn't have want to be, been the next actor in the booth because, yeah. They would just come in like, oh, who was in here last? Attack on Titan.
Hi.
Hi.
If Aaron and Kirito would have to fight, who would you let die?
Who would I just let die? Like, oh, you can go. I have a question back because this matters. Like, is it inside a game or outside of a game? Inside. Okay, I'll just answer both. Inside of the game, Kirito would win, Eren would die every single time, because Kirito is cheating. Outside of a game, Kirito would die very quickly because he weighs 90 pounds with his clothes wet. He's just a skinny gamer and Eren would stomp him. But I think it'd just be a yelling match. It would just start with that. They would just be yelling for like, if it was, to put in Dragon Ball Z terms, it would be one season of yelling. Followed by a couple hours of power-ups. And then it would end very quickly.
So I have a question. You played Asbel?
I did.
What did you think of the skits? And if you had a favorite skit, which would you pick?
You know, it was a while ago that I recorded the game, and actually in Tales of Graces, I had 3,600 lines, which is roughly a book. So I recorded over about 4 months, and it really does stand out though, because I recorded for a couple months, I got married, I went on my honeymoon, then came back and recorded more Tales of Graces. So it was a really great time and an awesome summer. The skits are really fun. There was a ton of skits. Like everywhere you walk in that game, another skit activates, and you know, we acted out all of them. So one doesn't like jump out. Do you have a favorite skit?
Well, it's just the one where it's like crablets, royal crablets.
Gotcha. I can't remember who says that one.
It was Richard and Sophie.
Gotcha. There is this one thing I saw a while back. Someone had taken all the times that Asbel says the word protect, and they like spliced them all together. So it's just like protect, 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 protect. He says protect like 100,000 times. So that was pretty funny. You should look that one up. It ends really, really good.
Hi Bryce, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good, thank you. I was just wondering, because you've worked with a lot of the same people sort of in the past for different projects, like for example Cassandra Lee Morris and Jeremy Lee, on a number of different projects. I was just wondering, in terms of sort of like friendly relationships and things like that, does that go beyond work, or do you do much outside of work with them, or is it more or less just when you've got the time or stuck in the booths and stuff like that?
So it's kind of interesting. When we record on anime, we're one person in the booth at a time, so you're not actually acting off the other characters unless they've recorded before you. So it's very much the job of the director to kind of assemble a performance so it sounds like everyone's in the same room. Jeremy and I met during the SAO recording. Actually, we met after those scenes in the cabin where our characters are sort of falling in love. And we really got the opportunity to hang out at conventions. That's where we became friends. And since then, Shermy and my wife have become good friends. I think they hang out more than I hang out with Shermy. And Cassandra, I've become great friends with her too. I mean, we've worked on a ton of projects together. And we're all part of this thing. Who's heard of Confessionals? Okay, only a few people. So Confessionals is this web series, and it stars a bunch of different voice actors. So Shermy and I play twins, which is really fun to play twins off Shermy. Cassandra is in it. J. Michael Tatum is in it. David Vincent is in it. A bunch of other voice actors make cameos also. But it's about voice actors going to a convention and the crazy stuff that happens at the con. It's really good. So I had a good amount of time to hang out with them when we were shooting Confessionals, and it was a real fun experience being in front of the camera versus being just in front of the mic. And it's a really funny show. Highly recommend it. Episode 1 and 2 are on YouTube, and episode 3 is in this group on Facebook called Anime Unlocked. And if you're not a member there, you should definitely join, because a lot of voice actors are doing like collaborations and different shows and really interesting things behind the scenes. it's super fun. I did a collaboration with this YouTuber recently that's floating around in there. It's really funny. So go join Anime Unlocked if you haven't already. And yeah, watch Confessionals.
So hello, Bryce. So I just wanted to ask, so obviously you're very famous for voice acting in anime, so would you say that anime has impacted your life in any way?
Yeah, I mean, because of anime, I've been able to meet everyone who watches animes at conventions like this. You know, it's been a way for me to travel the world and meet all different kinds of fans, and that's just been amazing. Really incredible. I've grown up as a fan of anime. Like, I would watch Dragon Ball Z and then go to karate and try to go Super Saiyan. So, yeah, I mean, absolutely, like, it has become a huge part of my life. And more than just my job, like, I'm really passionate about being part of these shows. And I really try to bring as much as I can of myself into my characters. So I feel like, you know, the characters have kind of impacted me back. Like, every time I record as one of those characters, you kind of leave the booth with something that those characters have. So, like, I feel like I'm angrier in traffic now after recording Attack on Titan. Like, I'm a lot smilier, like, after recording Blue Exorcist. I don't know. Maybe I'm better at cheesy pickup lines after Durarara. I'm more of a perv after 7 Deadly Sins. I try to behave myself. I haven't had 5,000 years to perfect my perviness, so I'm still working on it. It's hard to match Meliodas. And now I'm officially a magical boy. Yes, I like that.
Bryce.
Yes?
Let's talk about Fate's Day Night. And yes, I have the script from this morning, if you remember.
Yeah, okay. Do you have it ready? Like, you have it written out for me?
It's on the internet here, you can read it and then just get a recording of it once you've memorized the lines. But before we do any of that, what did you think of Fate's Day Night and Shiro Emiya?
So who has not seen Fate's Day Night? A bunch of people. Okay, so I would say Fate's Day Night is, Unlimited Blade Works is some of the most beautiful animation I've ever seen. It almost looks three-dimensional. Like, we were calling it Fate's Day Night Unlimited Budget because of how much it must have cost to create that show. It is just beautiful. And the story is really in-depth and complicated. And they had me perform as Shiro in a very non-anime way, if that makes sense. Like, the performance was real, is what they were shooting for. It's an amazing show. Tons of action, and again, the most beautiful animation I've ever seen. So I'd highly recommend it. And the cast is just incredible. So yeah, you should definitely go see it. And I will do my best to perform this line as Shiro Emiya. It's not like a line, it's like... So I don't think I can memorize it, but I can do my best.
We'll do it after this.
What was that?
We'll do it after this. After that, you take questions.
Maybe, yeah, why don't we do this? I have another autograph session after this. Have it written out for me.
It's on the internet.
Like, all the way written out, because there's no way I can memorize it. And I'll perform that for you.
Is there any anime show that other people have done that you would say that you've wanted to do as well?
Yeah, I mean, a ton. I grew up as a fan of Dragon Ball Z, so now with, you know, the new Dragon Ball Super, there's always a chance. It's really difficult to get work as a voice actor, even if you know, you're sort of established. So I would love to work on that show, but I never sort of get my hopes up for any particular role, because most of the time you're not going to get the roles you want. And most auditions you submit, you don't book the roles. So I always tell people, if you book 1 out of 100 auditions, you're doing extremely well. So yeah, it's hard to say. I really try not to set my heart onto any one character. So It's another thing that's pretty fun about the industry. You never know where you're going to be next or who you're going to be playing next. So I'm just excited to see what's in store for me. I mean, I can tell you there are new things coming. I can't tell you what they are, but I can tell you I've been talking a lot.
Of course, probably like you've seen here, you've had a lot of people being like, you know, like fanboy or fangirl, like, oh my god, all that type of stuff. But have you ever had like an occasion yourself where you've met someone who you've been a huge fan of and just literally thought to yourself like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm meeting you?
Yeah, like, it's difficult sometimes. You really have to, like, contain the fanboy moments, like, as an actor. I was at a Comic-Con in Dallas, and Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob, was in the back room, and I was sitting down for lunch.
Was this a Samurai Jack one?
What?
Was this for Samurai Jack?
No, this was just a general Comic-Con, so there were a bunch of actors there. I think, is he in Samurai Jack too? I mean,
yeah,
he's in tons of stuff. I mean, I really know him as SpongeBob. So we were sitting down for lunch. It was me and my wife and my daughter, and my daughter had a little salad in front of her with a cucumber in it, and he just comes walking up and sees her and goes, "Is that a sea cucumber?" Ah! That's my best impression of him. But as he did that, I was just like, it's SpongeBob. And like had to control myself, like, so I've definitely had those moments.
He's Spyro the Dragon as well.
What was that?
He does Spyro the Dragon too.
I mean, he's an incredible actor. I would love to work with him. You know, working on Attack on Titan was also sort of surreal because Mike McFarlane is Master Roshi. So I was just like, Master Roshi is directing me, this is so cool. You know, and there's a moment where Chris Sabat, who plays Vegeta, plays a very screamy character in Attack on Titan. He's just yelling and yelling and yelling. I'm like, Vegeta's yelling at me, this is so cool. So yeah, I've had those moments, but you try to contain them the best you can. But inside I'm like, oh, this is awesome. That was my best fanboy impression.
Out of all of your roles, which of you liked the least?
You know, it's hard to dislike paying your rent. I don't think that there's a role that I hate because I work so hard to get cast in anything. You know, there's definitely roles that I'm not as attached to as much, like when you play guy 37 in the background who falls off a cliff. Like, you're not really attached to that guy, but you're very thankful for the work because then you can pay your bills. So there's not really a role that I dislike. I always try to find something about the characters I'm playing to connect to, even if they're, you know, a guy who falls off a cliff. Which I've played before,
Hey Bryce.
Hi.
I think it was KawaiiCon 2016 at the Ask an Anime Character panel.
Okay.
I think Aaron said he'd make a contract with QB if he got to see Levi in a miniskirt. Did that happen in his Cat Noir, the Magical Girl transformation?
Wow. Okay. So contract is made. Aaron will make the contract, and his wish is to see Levi in a miniskirt. I think he would ask for that. The ship is strong, as you guys know.
Number one.
And would Cat Noir be the like Levi transforms and it's just Cat Noir? I mean, that would be amazing. So I was at this convention in Australia talking about miniskirts. And this girl comes up and she says, "Can you say a line for me?" I'm like, "Sure." She's like, "It says Aaron." And I'm like, "Okay." And she says, "Can you say Levi looks dead sexy in a miniskirt?" So I look her straight in the eye and go, "Levi looks dead sexy in a miniskirt." And ship is so strong now. They're not actually my OTP for Attack on Titan, I'm sorry to say. I'm sorry to say, I ship Derpy Titan, this one, with Santa Claus Titan. They're the ones I want to see together. Sonny and Vane. I want a spin-off with Sonny and Vane. That'd be amazing. Just them running through like flowers.
Hi, Bryce. Going back to Sword Art Online, who do you ship Kirito with?
Oh.
Now it begins.
So like, I've gotten this question before with like all of the actresses on Sword Art, and I'm just like, are you trying to get me killed? But I'm very far away from any of them right now. I feel like, so they won't physically punch me. I feel like, and now I'm gonna say this in front of this player. I'm sorry. I like Kirito and Asuna. I do. I think they're a good match, sorry to say. I mean, the rule that I have for Sword Art is all ladies love Kirito. It's just a rule throughout the show. Everyone kind of falls in love with him. But I think, like, Asuna is the right match. Like, she just challenges him and puts him in his place. And, yeah, I like the scenes that they have off each other and the, like, genuine, authentic love that comes through even in this virtual world. Like, I like that match. Yeah.
All right. A very highly philosophical, deep question for you.
Let's do it.
All right. Just trying to get the words off for it. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck?
You're asking the important questions here.
So we got 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck. I mean, are they both as angry as each other? Like, are they trying as hard to... They're all trying. Are we talking like small, like rubber duck size? Like, that's what I imagine, like a rubber duck size horse. Like, or are we saying like a duck, like... a proper duck? I think I'd go for... It's not a rubber duck, it's like a real...
It goes whack.
They all do.
Wow, I think I'd go for the 100 duck-sized horses. Because I'd just go and start punting them, just be like... yeah, just stomp on them.
Proper Titan mode.
True. If you guys have seen Attack on Titan Season 2, horses are good for throwing. Good question. I've never gotten that one. And it was deep. It was very deep.
As a voice actor, do you ever go back to the media you've been in, such as anime and games, and critique your own work?
Yeah, I don't really critique it. I go back and I watch it because, but I don't think like, oh, I could have done this, or what if this happened, because it kind of happens quickly. You go and you step into the booth and you kind of live in that moment, and then it's done. So whatever comes out in that moment is sort of what it was meant to be. So I don't think back and think, oh, I should have done that, or what if I would have done this? I just kind of enjoy it for what it is. And it's really interesting hearing yourself back or playing as yourself on a game. I really enjoy seeing my stuff back and hearing what all the other actors have done around me. It really trips my dogs out. Because they don't understand. They look at me and they're like, why are you yelling right now? Like, how are you yelling? Your mouth is closed. And they just don't understand, like, I'm coming out of the TV. Yeah, they just get confused.
If you've seen it, what's your opinion on SEO Abridged?
So interesting that you asked that, because I get asked this at every single convention now, which is hilarious. And I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to very soon. and I think I'm just gonna live stream it when I do that. Would you guys watch if I did that? Yes! Okay. I might do that in collaboration with Anime Unlocked. So go join there, and I will probably do that at some point soon.
Hi, is it hard going from your roles like Rin and Erin to do something like Adrian Agrest? Is it hard to swap between the two types of characters?
I mean, things that help are like the vocal refs. Fortunately, I haven't had to jump from like a session as Aaron into Miraculous Ladybug because they just didn't record at the same time. Who knows if I'll have to do that at some point in the future. But I have had moments where like you play a very like aggressive aggro character and then like you do a children's show right after. And it is difficult. It takes like a different mindset. But like those vocal refs really help. Yeah, it's challenging sometimes. So like, I'm trying to think of a solid example. I worked on this game called Disney Princess Palace Pets. And basically I play this little tiger. It's Jasmine's tiger. His name is Sultan. And he's just this little guy, and you just kind of comb his hair and brush his hair. And you know, he's just so little and tiny. I think I did that session right after like a massive battle in Sword Art Online. So it's definitely a gear shift, but it just comes with the territory.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry. Have you ever played or watched any of the SAO games?
You know, I haven't, because I haven't been fortunate enough to work on any of them, unfortunately. And I don't have a mobile gaming system right now, and I'm doing that on purpose because I would never stop playing. Like, I would just be like addicted to so many games that are on those. So I haven't picked up any of the SAO games. What's your favorite one though? You have a few?
Yes.
Which one do you like the best, if you can pick one? Hollow Realization? Okay, cool. I heard that one was really good. I always try to check out some of the like cutscenes and stuff to see like what the games look like, but that's awesome.
How do you think each character that you voice would comfort someone after a tough breakup?
Comfort someone after what?
After a tough breakup.
Oh, after a tough breakup.
It's actually a really sweet question with very disturbing undertones.
Yeah. You know, it depends on the character. I think like some characters would do better than others. Like, I wouldn't want Aaron comforting me after like a breakup because he would just yell at you. He'd be like, "Stop crying! Stop crying and kill someone." I don't think he'd do a very good job. I think Kirito would do pretty well. He'd be like emotional and like try to comfort you and be like, "It's okay, you'll find someone else. Lots of girls love me, so I'm sure it'll be okay." What about Adrian? I don't know. I think Adrian would be nice and sweet, but I don't think he has too much experience with breakups. I don't know. I don't see too many girls breaking up with him, being a model and all. So I don't know how much like worldly experience he would pass on, but he'd probably be very nice. Meliodas? He'd probably be like, "Well, there's always me." No, I love it. That's great.
Okay. Hey up.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, going very good. Yeah. Was there ever a character that you really wanted to voice, but you never got the chance? It was just every day, just like, "Oh, I really wish I wanted to voice that character." Damn. Oh.
I mean, there's tons. Like, when I audition, the majority of my auditions now I record at my home studio and then just MP3 in. If you look at my email, there's just a graveyard of auditions for every show out there. You know, ranging from anime to like shows that have been on Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network and all sorts of stuff. So I really try not to attach myself to any one character. Like, I know I auditioned for like Rick and Morty. Like, I would have loved to have played Morty. But I don't think that I would have been right for it, but I would have loved to have done that. But it's hard to kind of attach yourself to any character because most of the time you don't get them. So tons, but I try not to get my heart broken.
Okay, this is for my friend here.
Okay.
Can you do Nakito's crazy laugh and talk about hope and despair?
Another Danganronpa question. So, Nagito's insane. Let me just try to get in the headspace of Nagito. You ready? Despair. A crazy laugh in one word. Yeah, Nagito's crazy. I felt like I was playing the Joker when I was playing Nagito. And it's really fun bouncing back and forth between him and Naegi because Naegi's just so like innocent and hopeful and Nagito is so insane. So it's really fun.
Did you love voicing the actors from your animes?
Like specifically, like just all of them in general. Like, yeah. Oh yeah, I mean it's a really awesome job being a voice actor. The difficulty is getting the job. Is the auditioning. It's pretty grueling, but once you're cast as a role, it's really fun. So yeah, I've had an amazing time working on a bunch of these shows, and you know I still have a lot of really great work coming up in the near future. On Tuesday, I record more Attack on Titan. We're about halfway done with season 2 of Blue Exorcist. Yeah. I'm working on this mobile game. I think I can say that. I'm doing more of this. It's called Mobius Final Fantasy, and I play this character called Wall, or the Warrior of Light, and I get my man voice on for that role. So it's a free-to-download game. You should definitely check that out. What else can I talk about? So difficult. Yeah, there's lots of other stuff coming out, so it's. I have lots of things to look forward to and lots of things that you guys haven't seen yet.
Well, I'm afraid we've only got time for one more question, so would you like to pick the lucky participant?
Let's go with Cat Noir. Italian Cat Noir.
What was the most interesting experience that you did when you were voicing for your characters, or at the funniest thing that you ever did?
I've spent a lot of time in the booth, so I've had some really great moments. I'll tell an Attack on Titan moment because this comes to mind. So sorry if you guys have already heard this story, but there's this one moment in Attack on Titan where this pole goes through Aaron's shoulder. It's like all the way through his shoulder, and instead of pulling it out this way, he like goes all the way through it, and he lets out this like nasty scream as he does it. So we get to that point in the series, and it was right around lunchtime. So Mike's like, hey, let's break for lunch. So we go to this burger place in Texas called Muya Burger. Do you guys have Muya Burgers here? No? Okay, I don't have them in LA either, in California. So I didn't realize that when they say it's always bigger in Texas, like that's true. So I order my burger, and then I asked Mike, hey, you want to split some sweet potato fries? And he's like, yeah, sure. So I ordered the large sweet potato fries, which is a mountain of sweet potato fries on this like giant tray. So I eat my burger, and we finished the giant mountain of sweet potato fries, which I found out later were for 4 people. And we finished it, gone. So I get back to the booth and I'm like, oh, sweet potato fries. And this giant scream is up first. So when you're recording, you get these 3 beeps and they tell you when to start. So he's like, all right, let's try it. He goes, beep, beep, beep. That's what came out. And that's the reaction I got from the other side of the soundproof glass. They're just dying of laughter. He's like, yeah, let's try that again. So, beep, beep, beep. I was so full of sweet potato fries that I physically could not get enough oxygen in my body to scream like Aaron Yeager. So I learned a very important lesson. Do not eat a mountain of sweet potato fries if you want to scream like Aaron. Yeah. So that was a good moment. I hope they kept those screams. Well, thank you guys so much. This was a really fun panel. So I have one more autograph session later today, so if you didn't get a chance to get your stuff signed, come on by. And I have another panel tomorrow, so if you didn't ask your question, please ask there. And enjoy the rest of SunnyCon, guys. Thank you.
Once again, let's have another huge round of applause for Bryce Papenbrook.